There is a dispute. I'll create that dispute by selling this corn if it's contaminated. Then Monsanto will have to sue me for infringement.
So that's what you want to do.
No, it's not what I want to do.
That's what you.
That's what I'm going to do if this is contaminated.
With what?
With Monsanto's property.
Back in 1987, there were still, for example, many seed companies. The Monsantos and the big biotech companies, they didn't start buying up seed companies. What they do is they wait. In 1996, when the World Trade Organization is set up, that basically says that any country that wants to be part of WTO has to offer some kind of patent protection on living organisms. Now the U.S. system has functionally been globalized, and that's when you start to see the buyouts happen. In 1998, in just that year, Monsanto spent $6 billion buying up seed companies.
Patents, this is all about corporate control of the seeds. And I think a society should be worried about who owns their seeds. Seeds are the most basic thing there is, and we're allowing through this technology to allow our seeds to be owned by a limited few people, and worse yet, narrowing the gene pool, which is just as dangerous as anything. So in historical times, seed was the backbone of a country, and here we're now letting these people with an unfair game come and own our genetics.
They want every food on the planet to be theirs. A government-granted intellectual monopoly, a patent on every seed that is grown commercially everywhere in the world. Well, you have to realize the intention behind GMOs is not to help farmers. It is to maximize corporate profits and power and control over the food supply. A lot of this comes down to IP, intellectual property. And they've got patents, so they're going to use that government-issued monopoly as a leverage force to expand their operation, take over as much turf as possible, and control as much of the food supply as possible.
There are few, if any, benefits actually for the farmers. They pay a tremendous amount more for their seed. They have to sign proprietary technology agreements with Monsanto and Dow and other companies. And they lose control of the way they're farming to some extent. We've seen an exponential increase in the rate of agrochemical applications. This after the same people who are trying to convince us that we don't want to know what's in our food sold this technology on the basis that it would reduce toxic chemical usage. So there aren't really benefits to the environment. There aren't economic benefits to the farmers. There aren't really any discernible benefits to human consumers. Who's benefiting from this?
All right, you have your capitalists. They're concerned about the bottom line. That's their fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders, right? This year's bottom line, not the long-term bottom line necessarily. This year's bottom line. This, in my opinion, is one of the reasons we have government, to keep those capitalists in check, because they have every right to make their money. But then we have every right to a government that will protect the public good. And that's what the FDA is not doing in this case.
In fact, Monsanto has brought family farmers to court 144 times claiming patent infringement. In another 700 cases, they have settled out of court with farmers that felt that should they pursue their legal right, they would potentially lose their farms through bankruptcy, trying to fight a major corporation like Monsanto. The way the U.S. law is, U.S. patent law is, should their pollen cross over their side of the fence onto our farm, contaminate our crop, we would be in possession of their technology without having licensing rights to do so. And in that way, we would be at jeopardy for patent infringement litigation.
The real game plan of the biotech industry is to destroy the viability of your farm, making you dependent on their technology to grow anything. Once they've got you to spray your field and kill the microbes, they've got you, because that soil is not going to recover for a decade or more on its own. So now you're locked into their system. See, it's all about control. Food is a weapon, in the same way that an atomic bomb was a weapon in World War II. You can kill more people by controlling the food supply than you can by dropping bombs on people, by far. And they know that. Control of food is power.
Worse than that, we've now given over a large portion of our food supply to one company, one corporation. Not an evil corporation, because corporations aren't people. A corporation is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Make every penny possible, dominate the market, own the market, drive all the competition from the market, and make all the money. That's what it's supposed to do. That's what it's doing.
That's what they would like to do, and that's why you've seen there are still a lot of countries, or there are countries and non-governmental organizations that have been fighting on the patent issue from the beginning, saying that there should be no patents allowed on life forms or gene sequences or these other things. Because to say that you've created, just like you come up with a new machine, to say that you've done that with an organism, that you've created a new plant, is the height of arrogance, when all you've really done is you've inserted one or a couple genes in them.
Monsanto can say anything they want outside of a courtroom, but once you get inside the courtroom, you are required to tell the truth. And we think that this is what America needs. We need to see the truth under oath about what is going on with our food supply and the takeover of this food supply. And we think that it's going to be eye-opening and unsettling to Americans to see how much their government has let them down, the government that is supposed to be defending their interest as the American people, allowing biotech corporations to get their agenda put forward and ignoring the interests of the American people.